Hello guys, and welcome back to another one of my videos. Today I will take a look at my headset, the Blue Parrot S450, if I'm not mistaken. S is for stereo. The problem I'm having with it is that when I try to turn on the power button, it no longer turns on. I've been having issues for a couple of weeks now where if I would accidentally touch the power button a little bit, it will cut out. So there's definitely something wrong with it. I will open it up and see what's going on, probably from wearing it on my head multiple hours a day. There's a lot of sweat and grease and whatnot that went into it, and I'm hoping it's just something as simple as having a corroded contact. So I will try to see if I can get that fixed. Anyway, considering the fact that this headset is aimed at truckers, and I only have it for like a year, and I paid quite a hefty price for it, 150 something US dollars. So I'm not that happy with this development. So let's take a look. We have small Phillips screws, the cross ones, and we're gonna try to open it up. This one's too small. The screws are pretty well wedged in there. I was not expecting that. Okay, always be very careful where you put the screws. They are very small, very tiny. I don't know if you can see them. By the way, this video is being filmed on my new phone. You can check that video in the under description, the Galaxy S10. So far so good with the phone. Have to be careful because I don't want to strip the screw. For some reason I think that's exactly what I'm doing. Wouldn't it be nice to have a small impact wrench? I think they have some kind of glue in there, and that's why it's so hard to unscrew them. You unscrew the two top screws, then you have to take off the ear cuff, and then you have 4 small screws for the speaker, and then 2 other screws inside under the speaker. Okay, so be careful, make sure you don't lose the tiny little screws. It's very easy to do so, and try not to force the the speaker, because the wires are very thin and it's very easy to rupture the wires. Now let's continue with unscrewing the rest on the earpiece. These guys come off a little bit easier than the first 2 ones. Yeah, I spoke too soon. I'm gonna need a little bit of protection for my hand because the screwdriver is digging into my hand. This here is my handy dandy little sleeve. When I'm driving, there's sun coming from the window and it's burning my hand. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but my hands are different colors because of that. So what I did is that I went to Walmart and I didn't find the right cotton material that I like in shirts, but I did find some leggings for little kids that were nice and white, so they reflect a lot of light and heat, and they had the right blend of cotton that I like. So what I did, I bought those leggings, I cut off the legs, and I have a sleeve that I can, well actually I have 2 sleeves that I can put on my hand, and it will protect me from the solar radiation on my hand, so I'm not getting burned all the time. But right now I need this to cushion the screwdriver. Let me see. The head is pretty big, so I might be able to use the bigger screwdriver set. Let me see if I have a small enough head in this set here. So I need star. Let's see, maybe this one here. Yep, it has the right grip. Let's see the other guy. Oh, even better. Okay, so I'm gonna be using this head with this screwdriver. Yep. Much better. Whew. Yeah, this makes it easier. I would say it's a child's play. Okay, so it should be, I should be able to get it loose now. Open it up. Yeah, here it comes. And the power button also came back to life. It just turned on the headset. But since I already opened it, I'm gonna take a peek inside. So I don't know if you can see it. Let me try to show you what is in here. That would be the motherboard. This right here is the power switch. Is the LED for the switch. And for some reason it was not working. If you would look over there, you would see that white transparent thing that is glue that was made to that was put in for the screws to hold them in place. This here should be the Bluetooth antenna right there. And I think the batteries are housed in the other unit, but I'm not gonna open that up. It's not necessary. So let me play with the power button a little bit. I just took it off. Let me set this up so that you can see what I'm doing there. Okay, so there it is. Now I did force the power button and it went somewhere. I don't see it. Where did you go, little button? Ah, there it is. So I'm looking at it. Okay, what I think it happened is that the plastic part has a small square indentation that goes into the power button over there, and I think it just simply came out, and while I was moving it, it was not actually moving the button. And try to put it back in, and this time make sure it's nice and snug. Okay, off, on, off, on, Okay, so off, you see the LED going red, red, and stop. On, blue, blue, and it's probably connected to something. So this is done. One thing I could do to prevent things like this from happening in the future would be to put a little bit of glue in there, and that will make sure that the button stays in there. Okay. Yeah, the button moves pretty freely, so I will probably put a drop of super glue and then put it onto the button. It's not even a drop, you know, you just have to smear it in there. Be right back. I'm going to look for the super glue. So here is the super glue. I'm gonna need a little toothpick to smear it. So let me show you what I'm trying to do. I will take this little button here. Let me see if I can focus it. Nah, it's too close. Okay, there you go. So there is a square hole right there in the middle. I'm gonna take a little bit of super glue on the toothpick and smear it as much as possible on the inside of the button. Okay, and then when I put the button back in its place, the super glue will lock it and will no longer let it slide out. So let's get back. It would be nice if I would be wearing gloves and to avoid sticking my fingers to each other. So whenever I'm working with super glue or ink or paint, I like to use gloves. I got these disposable, very cheap plastic things. It's not good for the planet, but hey, right now I need it. And I'm not doing this every day, so a pack of these gloves would last me a couple of years, so that would help me to not feel that guilty. Now, perforate super glue. Make it come to the top nice and slow. Careful not to get it on anything else. Put the cap on. Nice and tight. Bringing the super glue up. Okay, all I need is to touch the toothpick, and then with the tip of the toothpick touch the inside of the button, just like that. This would get super glue onto there. I'll also smear a little bit on the end part of the button and maybe a little bit on top. Okay, cap the super glue. Hopefully we can use it for later. I'll put it heads down so I know that one is the open one. And now putting the button back. There it is, the button is back, is inside. It's working. Now I'm gonna leave this for a couple of minutes to react and do its job and stick to each other, and then I'm gonna come back and screw everything back together. Be back in a moment. Okay, so here I am. It's been about 5 minutes. The super glue must have set. Let me do one more test. Turns on, turns off, it stays in there. So let's start putting back everything together. Put the top part in its back to its designated place. Everything should just snap back into place. Go nice and slow. Make sure it's all good. Okay. Now we're gonna do it in reverse order. We're gonna put in the lateral screws first. I'm gonna use this guy instead. Okay, I should no longer need this because I no longer work with the super glue. Take them off, put them on the side. Okay, when you put them back in, don't tighten them too much because you risk snapping it off. Make sure it goes in the right way, otherwise you're going to strip the little plastic receiving end underneath. You definitely don't want to do that. Okay. Should have probably tightened this in opposite directions, but I wasn't paying attention to that. So if you do it, try to do it lower corner, opposite upper corner, next upper corner, lower opposite corner, you know, to do it like this to balance it when you tighten it up. There's an old Romanian saying that says, don't do what the priest does, do what the priest says. The side buttons are not as clicky as I would like them to be. This is a side note on the headset, but they do their job. So when you're positioning it, wide part up, the one that has a plus on it or a cross goes up, and the narrow angle goes down. Here's one of the screws. Position. Something isn't right, because this should be able to pivot like the other one. Okay, so when I'm putting this back, there is a small knob coming out from the headset that goes into the speaker, and you have to align it in order for it to stay properly in place and still pivot a little bit to give you that free range of motion. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so once it's in there, hold it down with your finger, and now we put in the screws. So the design is kind of foolproof. It's made so that it only goes together in a certain way. This way it's easier for you. You don't have to remember some stuff, and you just go with the design. So depending on how much motion you want to have on your cups, on this up and down motion, don't tighten the screws all the way down, because if you do, it will completely lock it and will not let it move. See, this is too much. Just a smidge backwards, and yeah, a little more. Yeah, now we're good. I have about the same range of motion like the other one. Now, let's put in the speaker. It's in there nice and snug. Screw it down in place, and you're almost good to go. Opposite corner. Only for an even distribution of clamp down force. Everything is back in place. One last check. Power is on, LED is on, headset is connected, power is off. Good, perfect. Let's put the ear cuff back in. This thing just slides in. Gonna need a little bit of finesse. Okay, it's all in there on my head. My headset is connected. Okay, it's good. Everything works as it should. I no longer the power button no longer wiggles all over the place, so I fit everything back the way it should be. So now you know too, if you're having the same problem with your Blue Parrot S450 headset, you know, the power no longer comes on, or you just barely touch it and it goes, your power button is literally off the rails. So you're gonna have to get a couple of screws loose up in the headset and like I showed you, just take a smidge of super glue, smear it in there, put it in place, wait for 5 minutes, snap everything back together, and you're good to go. Instead of throwing away a good working functional headset and dish out another $100-something for a new one, you can just repair yourself like I did here in a couple of minutes, and you would be good to go. So once again, I would like to thank you all for watching this video, and I have a special request. If this was of any help to you, please like and subscribe. It would help me very, very much. And you know, like, share, and subscribe to keep the internet alive. Thank you all, and have a great day.